Hey guys, welcome back. This is Alexis with Sofield Leather. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this, a Firefighter tool belt. And in the description below, you're going to need to download the blueprints and templates on my website. I'll put a link in the description where you can download that in order to follow along. But before we continue, I'd like to go over a couple of things as far as this tool belt. Number one, the adjustable size goes from 41 to 49. And in the years of me making this product, 41 inches to 49 inches is about 95% of most firemen, firefighters, as far as fitting it. This will fit if you run this under your jacket or run it over your jacket. You have enough wiggle room to adjust it accordingly. We'll talk more about that when we get there. That's number one. Number two, the leather. The leather you want to use is whole grain leather. I'll put a link in the description what leather I use and where to get it. You want to use at least a 10 to 11 ounce. If not, it'll be too flimsy to hold your tool right here in this loop. Ideally, you want to do a double layer the way I do my premium stuff. A solid 9 to 10 ounce on top, followed by 5 or 6 on the bottom. Stitch that together and it is really, really, really stout. So for the demonstration and for assembling this product today in this video, I'm just going to use one thick, about 10 to 11 ounce piece of leather. This is Handmade oak, and I think this is their British brown, or it might be their chestnut, I'm not sure. But this is just a thick piece of 11 ounce, 10 to 11 ounce Handmade oak bridal leather. You can use natural vegetan leather. In fact, I'm going to be transitioning to using nothing but Handmade oak natural vegetan leather and dyeing it myself. That's neither here nor there. But you want to use a stout piece of leather. Preferably, you want to stitch, you want to marry two pieces of leather together for extra stability and make it super stout. Unfortunately, I don't have one in my shop right now. That's number two. Number three, as far as my blueprints are concerned, I really encourage you to look at how to use my blueprints. I made a designated video specifically on how to use my blueprints. These blueprints are not to scale, obviously. Because they're strap goods. I say that all the time. You can't have a to scale strap that's 60 inches long. So my templates are technically schematics or blueprints, but I walk you through that on that video, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just going from hole to hole. We'll talk more about that when we start building this product. But now I want to get to the hardware that's needed for this project. Here's the hardware that you're going to need. I will put a link in the description. All this stuff you can get at Weaver Leather. I'll put a link in the description where you can find that, along with the item number. If you plug in that item number, you'll see these products pop up. Of course, you can get these in stainless steel as well. A little harder to get black, but you can get them in stainless steel as well. But the first thing you need is a 3-inch O-ring. 3-inch O-ring. You need this heavy duty snap. Heavy duty snap. You need a buckle. This is a 1.5 inch buckle. Same thing with the snap, 1.5 inch snap, and that refers to this inside diameter here for the in order to receive the 1.5 inch wide strap. 1.5 inch buckle. You could replace it with a center bar buckle if you'd like. That makes the assembly a little trickier, but you can do it if you want the extra security. But I like the regular buckle. You need two 1.5 D-rings, two 1.5 inch D-rings. And of course you can use O-rings in lieu of the D-rings. If you wanted to use O-rings, I would get a 2-inch O-ring, a 2-inch O-ring. Or the D-rings. I like the D-rings better. They sit a little nicer. You need a 7mm button head screw or Sam Brown stud. I think they call it a button head screw. And of course, last but not least, you need however you're going to rivet this thing. Copper rivets or brass rivets with burr. Copper rivets or brass rivets with the burr. The flathead. I don't have the burrs in here, do I? Oh, they're over here. And I like to use the number 9. Hey, it's my friend. I like to use the number 9 rivets. I would not get the number 12s. I get the number 9s. You could do the number 12s, but I like the number 9s. I feel like It's a little more stout. Like I said, in the links in the description, there's going to be links where you can find all this hardware. All right, let's get into an overview of the pattern. This is not a complicated build. There's only 4 working pieces, okay? So if you take your patterns, let's get acquainted with the patterns. You'll notice on your patterns you have A, 8.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4. That refers to the main strap, this whole main strap here, okay? This main strap. And I apologize for it being all boogered up. I had to disassemble it in order to put it back together again. But Hurst, if you're watching, I'll make you a new one. A really, really nice one. But that is the main pattern A. 0.1, 2, 3, and 4 are the main strap. Of course, the AC is going to come on in the middle of the video. Pattern B is the O-ring attachment. This is the O-ring attachment right here. That's this guy, O-ring attachment. Pattern C is the tool loop itself. This is the tool loop itself. And then pattern D is going to be the tool belt keeper right here. The tool belt keeper. This is just the keeper that holds everything together at the end so it doesn't fillet open. Okay? That is the 4 pieces alpha through delta on your patterns. Let's talk about pattern A. If you look at pattern A, you have the main strap. This is where the O-ring is going to be connected. This is called, this section here on pattern 8.1. 8.1 is going to demonstrate from the loop end, which is this. This is pattern 8.1. So you're looking at 8.1 right here. 8.2 is the adjustment section. This is where the buckle ties in over here. This is the adjustment section. 8.3 is the buckle end. 8.3 is the buckle end. Okay? This is where this buckle is going to attach. 8.4 is just an overview of the buckle end and the adjustment end. Okay? As far as my patterns, you'll notice on the very first page on alpha, I have an X. An X means a 5/32 hole punch. You can use something a little bigger or smaller. I find the 5/32 works really well with the number 9 rivets because you can put them in there and they won't fall out. They'll stay in there. The X with a circle, and this is kind of important, the X with a circle indicates a, hold on, I got it here, a measurement anchor. And please watch my video on how to use my blueprints because basically the measurement anchor is how I measure. For example, if you're looking at pattern A.1, that first measurement anchor is right here. And what I do is I go from here to the next measurement anchor. It's this one, so I'm doing it upside down. So what I do is I use that measurement, mark it, and then I work out from that anchor point to measure out. And I do that throughout the course of the pattern and the build. That's just a way for me to do it, but I put all measurements on there so you can do it how you want. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, this brings up a very, very crucial point, and that is adjustment. So right now, as it stands, this build is adjustable between 41 and 49 inches. And like I said earlier in the introduction, I find that that is the best size for 98% of firefighters. However, if you look at pattern A1, on the anchor point from here to the very first adjustment spot right here, I have a certain measurement there. If you want to make this shorter or bigger or longer, this is where you would make that adjustment. From here, you'll see it on the blueprint, it comes up. It comes up, the measurement from here to here. Everything else is the same. This measurement here, you need to adjust accordingly. As it stands now, 41 to 49 inches. If you want it 2 inches shorter and you want to go 38 to 47, you just make this 2 inches shorter and then continue from there from that anchor point. I hope I'm clear on that. Before you start assembling, make sure that you glue, stitch, finish the edges, burnish it. Every piece needs to be finished before you start assembling, okay? That's super crucial and super important. Important, that's a new word. So let's begin assembling. The very first thing we're gonna do is assemble the buckle. So take pattern 8.3, 8.3, and we're gonna work our way to the buckle end, which is right over here. We need to do this in reverse, upside down, so to speak. Just the way that it's, you put this together. This is where people get hung up. So what we're gonna do is take this piece, we're gonna flip it upside down, and we're gonna assemble this backwards. I'm gonna use copper rivets. And I suppose you could use Chicago screws if you really wanted to, but I just don't like Chicago screws. So what we're gonna do is assemble it backwards. Notice the roller buckle. See that? It's upside down. Let me show you what that looks like. You see how the roller's on this side? It's on the flesh side, not the grain side. You want this to be upside down. You'll see why in a second. Now this is a matter of taste. What side you want the head to be on? Touching the body or away from the body? I like the flat side to be against the body, so I would do this upside down this way, because this is what's going to be seen on the outside. I don't want that broken off piece rubbing on the fireman, on your gear or anything like that. And we're simply going to assemble. Now, next part, you take your D-ring or your O-ring. Remember, this is a 1.5 inch D-ring. Now, the way this is oriented, this needs to sit like this, okay? So all you have to do is slide this in here this way. Now, it seems counterintuitive because this is not normally how you put buckles together, but because this is looped on itself, you'll see what I'm talking about when it's finally done. So this is how it needs to be, just like this, okay? And we just simply rivet that in. And this is the finished product, this upside down buckle with a D-ring or an O-ring right there, okay? So this is counterintuitive, but we're gonna take this piece right here, okay? This heavy duty snap. With your strap flesh side up, let's go ahead and reverse it. Do it this way. And we're gonna slide this piece in this orientation with the mouth eating the strap. Let me show you. Right side up. The mouth is going to eat the strap. See this? This way. And what you're left with, you see this? So when you flip it back over, you're ready to go. All we have to do now is weave this part through here and attach the buckle. Let that hang there. Take this tail end, run it through the loop, and then run it through the buckle. Through the loop and through the buckle. And we are halfway there. And you can put it in whatever slot you want. And this is what we're left with. You see that? Trust me, it's taking me, I messed this part a million times. I didn't know exactly how to orient that. You're gonna mess up a couple of times, but the beauty is, don't rivet the tool loop yet or the O-ring yet until you figure this out. This is why you do this first. Now we move on to pattern C. We take pattern C and we simply attach it. You see how it lines up? Just like this. So let's go ahead and attach this. We're going to attach these two first to these two holes here. See that? And then we're going to slide the other O-ring in there, or D-ring, whatever it is that you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put these through the bottom because I want that flat head to be touching the fireman. We're going to do this. Rivet them in. Once you got that riveted in, you take your D-ring or your O-ring, 2-inch O-ring or your 1.5-inch D-ring, and you're gonna weave it through. We're building in these connection points so you can hang lights, gloves, any other tool you want to hang off of that thing. And you continue your riveting. Now you might notice right here that this piece is actually longer than the holes. And that's on purpose. That's what gives you the actual loop. Okay? See, those holes are longer, but if you line them up, it gives you that loop right there. And of course you can play with the length of this. I would not mess with the length of the actual main strap. If you want a bigger loop, you just add a 1/2 inch or so to the tool loop. And you can make this loop a little bit more pronounced or less pronounced, however you want to do that. But I wouldn't go more than 1/2 inch increments and play with it a little bit to get the loop that you want. Now that that's secure, you can already start to see the build. And of course, all you have is the O-ring attachment, which is really self-explanatory. And you have this piece. Now, it's a good thing to keep in mind too, that between this hole and this hole, you have about 9.5 inches. This is where you want to personalize it if you want to personalize it. And I suggest that you do this before you assemble. Just know that going into it, you only have about 9 inches, maybe 8 inches or so, depending on how you modify this strap. But now let's move on to to section. Take out your pattern. All right, let's look at pattern B, like in Bravo. B, like in Bravo, that's the O-ring attachment. And this is super easy. You're gonna take your 3-inch O-ring and your pattern B, like in Bravo. You have to weave it to the bottom first. This completely wraps around, okay? It completely wraps around this piece. You see that? Then you weave in your O-ring. You're sandwiching that piece of leather around. Gives a little more strength. I like it like that. And this is a keeper I was talking about. Pattern D, like in Delta. Pattern D, like in Delta. Notice this after a while starts to open up a little bit. This is really a cosmetic piece. And just keep in mind you might have to make this a little bit thicker. I'm sorry, not thicker, a little bit longer if you'd like to accommodate your thicknesses. So if you're having, you know, a 10 ounce and you're marrying it with a 5 ounce or something like that, it's gonna be pretty thick. This might be a little too tight for that. You might have to increase the length by that. From this hole to this hole, increase that length, I don't know, 1/2 inch, anywhere between 4.5 to 5 inches from this hole to this hole. You're just gonna have to see on your build exactly what length works good, because you want it a little snug, you don't want it loose around there. But as it stands, this is good for this single layer piece of leather. Yeah, it's pretty tight. And there you go. And that keeps that nice and tight. There is a little wiggle room here. That's it. All right, y'all. She's done. I hope you guys get to enjoy this template. I hope you guys get to make some really awesome tool belts. If you guys want a tool belt, I'm going to start offering this on my website as well as far as a finished product. But I hope this works out well for you guys. I hope it was an easy build. It's fairly an easy build. But I just want to say thank you for all your support and for your business. God bless you. Have a good day. Thumbnail time.